Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a very special episode of the Chris and Emma Show. We're excited that you're joining us today, and if you're enjoying our conversations, please don't be shy. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single one of our amazing episodes that we have coming up.
Indeed. Today, we're delving into a topic that, well, it truly tugs at the heartstrings of so many of us. Canine cancer. It's a diagnosis no pet parent ever wants to hear, is it? Absolutely not. But what if we told you there are powerful, proactive steps you can take, right now, to significantly reduce your beloved dog's risk? It's quite empowering, really.
Yeah, and our mission today is to equip you with a comprehensive guide to canine cancer prevention. The goal is to extract the most critical pieces of knowledge, empowering you, our devoted listener, and dog owner, to build a healthier, happier future for your furry family member.
Speaking of furry family members, you and I got interested in this subject because you recently rescued a new companion, didn't you, Chris?
That's right. Our rescue dog's name is Odin. We think he's about 3 years old, but we're not 100% sure on that. Same with his genetics. We think he's mostly German Shepherd with some Burmese Mountain Dog as well.
Oh, how lovely. A shepherd mix, you say? All right then, tell us what it's been like. What was the process of rescuing him? And have there been any complications since? I'm sure it's been a hoot.
Well, the process was easy enough. We just got him from a local humane society. We had to do a sort of interview to make sure that we were a good fit for him and such. Everything worked out, and we took him to the vet. And that's when we discovered that he had Lyme disease.
Oh, for goodness sake. Lyme disease? That's not what you want to hear at all, is it? Poor bloke.
Yeah, he had to go through a course of antibiotics to clear that up, but he is much, much better now. We'll make sure to get some videos of Odin posted up as soon as we can. Anyway, back to our topic at hand. We have dug deep and have found some interesting stuff, haven't we, Em?
That's exactly right, Chris. We've got everything from detailed research on how common this really is, the different types of cancer, to deep dives into nutritional strategies, essential lifestyle adjustments, and even those environmental factors you might not have considered. Right then, let's kick things off by getting a crystal clear picture of the challenge. First off, let's talk about just how widespread this issue truly is. It's quite a startling fact, but cancer stands as the leading cause of death in our canine companions. Around 1 in 3, perhaps even 1 in 4, domestic dogs will develop some form of neoplasia, which is simply abnormal tissue growth, at some point in their precious lives.
Wow, 1 in 3, Emma? That is a huge number.
It truly is, my dear. And for our cherished senior pups, those over 10, that number tragically skyrockets to nearly half, almost 50%. It's a sobering thought.
Wow. And it's so important, I think, to view this in a broader context. Our dogs, they share our homes, our yards, which means they're exposed to many of the very same contaminants that we are. Things like tobacco smoke, pesticides, and various household chemicals.
Precisely. Those sneaky things we don't even consider sometimes.
And when dogs develop cancers that are strikingly similar to human cancers like lymphoma or bladder cancer, and these are linked to those shared exposures, it usually serves as a really powerful biological indicator, like a canary in a coal mine, don't you think?
Fascinating.
Yeah, it suggests that the factors impacting our dogs could also be influencing human health in our shared spaces, so it really elevates the discussion beyond just pet well-being to a more holistic family health approach.
Right then, knowing it's that common and potentially linked to our own environment makes it even more crucial to understand what we actually mean by canine cancer. Dogs can get a wide range, can't they? Similar to us humans, they certainly can.
Many are strikingly similar. Carcinomas, sarcomas, lymphomas. Recognizing the common ones is absolutely key for early detection.
So, what are the most common forms you often see, and what should owners be acutely aware of?
Well, delving into these subtypes, lymphoma or lymphosarcoma, for instance, can account for up to, say, 24% of diagnoses. It often shows up as enlarged lymph nodes. You might feel them along the jaw area, in the armpits, or even in the groin.
Easy to check for then.
It is, but it can also appear almost anywhere in the body. Now, while a complete cure is rare, it's actually highly responsive to chemotherapy. We see remission rates up to 95%.
That's truly encouraging, at least.
It certainly is. Then you have mast cell tumors. These are the most common skin tumors, usually not painful and often curable with surgery if they're caught early and identified as low grade.
Okay. What about bone cancers? I hear about those in larger breeds.
Yes, osteosarcoma. That's the big one for bones. Makes up about 85% of skeletal tumors. It's highly aggressive, unfortunately. It mostly affects the limbs of large and giant breeds, so Great Danes, Rottweilers, Greyhounds, St. Bernards, Irish Wolfhounds, and Scottish Deerhounds, the really large breeds. It causes lameness and swelling, and the real worry here is that it tends to spread to the lungs pretty early on. Then there's hemangiosarcoma. That's a malignant tumor of blood vessels, often found in the spleen, liver, or heart. These tumors are super fragile. They can rupture internally, leading to sudden weakness, lethargy, and the long-term outlook, sadly, is generally poor.
That sounds rather frightening.
It can be, Emma. We also see oral melanomas, dark, raised masses, usually in the mouth or sometimes on the skin, also on toes or nail beds, especially in black-coated dogs. And finally, transitional cell carcinoma, or TCC. That's the most common urinary system tumor, typically found in the bladder.
Right, so that's quite a list. This really drives home the point about early detection, doesn't it? This is a pivotal piece for you, the owner. Early and accurate diagnosis can profoundly improve outcomes, maybe even save lives. So what steps can you take? Working with your vet to spot risks or get screenings?
You are absolutely right, Emma. Being proactive is key here. Your veterinarian is your trusted partner. They can identify dogs at higher risk based on things like their age, their breed, and environmental exposures. And then they can recommend targeted screening. So it really puts you in an active role in their health journey.
Good. So when we think about what actually causes these cancers to develop, where do we start looking, my dear?
Well, at its core, cancer is a genetic disease. It stems from DNA mutations. And these mutations can happen for a few reasons. Simple errors when cells copy themselves, damage from external agents, or even mutations that are inherited, passed down through generations.
Right. And speaking of generations, the incredible variety of dog breeds we love, it's truly wonderful. But selective breeding has, well, it's rather narrowed the gene pool, hasn't it?
It certainly has, Emma. That reduction in genetic diversity, unfortunately, increases the risk for certain diseases, and that includes cancer. It's quite striking, actually. Purebred dogs face a 1.9 times higher risk for cancer claims compared to mixed breeds.
Wow. Nearly double the risk. That's something to ponder.
And it's fascinating how specific certain breeds are to certain cancers. For instance, boxers, Boston Terriers, and Golden Retrievers often get mast cell tumors, though frequently low-grade ones. Lymphoma is more common in Burmese mountain dogs, bulldogs, and boxers. Osteosarcoma, that bone cancer, we see it way more in large and giant breeds like Great Danes, Rottweilers, Greyhounds, St. Bernards. TCC, the bladder cancer, Scottish Terriers have a higher risk. Hemangiosarcoma, Golden Retrievers are particularly noted for that one. And even beagles have a high relative risk for mammary cancer.
That's really specific. It helps owners of those breeds be extra vigilant, I suppose. Now, what about age? We mentioned that earlier.
Age is a huge factor, Emma. Simple but powerful. The older your dog gets, the higher their cancer risk. It's basically down to cumulative exposure over time. More chances for DNA damage from various agents, more chances for errors when cells replicate.
And you said earlier nearly half of all dogs over 10 develop some form of cancer. That's just sobering. It really highlights why prevention matters so much as they get older.
Absolutely. And this leads us to another factor, one that's actually more complex than many people realize. Spay/neuter status.
Oh, right. I thought that was always recommended.
Well, it's nuanced, Emma. Yes, spaying significantly cuts the risk of mammary cancer, especially if it's done before, say, 12 months. And neutering obviously eliminates testicular cancer risk. That's clear. But conversely, there's evidence suggesting these procedures might increase the risk of other cancers like osteosarcoma and hemangiosarcoma in both males and females.
Really? Okay, so it's not a simple, always do it situation then?
Exactly. It means it's not a one-size-fits-all answer. It absolutely requires an individualized decision. You need to weigh the specific risks and benefits for your particular dog, talking it through with your veterinarian. It's not just a blanket recommendation anymore.
That's really important for people to understand. Right then, let's shift gears a bit. You've highlighted diet as a cornerstone of prevention. This can feel overwhelming, right? So many choices. Can you break it down for us? What does a cancer-resistant diet really look like? What are the essentials?
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming for sure, Emma. But the foundation is actually pretty straightforward. A truly anti-cancer diet should prioritize high-quality, minimally processed whole foods. Think lean proteins, a good variety of fresh vegetables and fruits and healthy fats. Real food, basically. Now, a crucial point for dogs already diagnosed with cancer, you generally shouldn't make radical diet changes without a specific medical reason. Talk to your vet first. And this is really important. If you're thinking about home-cooked meals, you absolutely must consult a board-certified veterinary nutritionist.
Not just recipes off the internet then?
Definitely not, Emma. Online recipes are often unbalanced, and that can lead to serious nutrient deficiencies, which is the last thing you want. And raw diets, generally not recommended, especially for dogs whose immune systems might be compromised, like during cancer treatment, for example, because of the infection risk.
Got it. So beyond that whole foods foundation, you mentioned specific superfoods that can really boost their defenses. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some real powerhouses here. First up, cruciferous vegetables. We're talking broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower.
The usual suspects for healthy eating.
Right. They're packed with vitamins and phytonutrients, but the real star here is a compound called sulforaphane. Studies show it does amazing things. Protects cells from damage, actually tells cancer cells to die off, and inhibits the blood supply tumors need.
Wow.
Yeah. It prevents metastasis, that spread, and even helps the body inactivate carcinogens. Pretty powerful stuff.
Okay, so if sulforaphane is the key, how do we actually get it into our dogs effectively? Like, how should we prepare these veggies?
Great question, Emma. To maximize the sulforaphane, you ideally want to feed them raw or only lightly steamed, like keep the temperature below 158 degrees Fahrenheit or 70 degrees Celsius, and only for maybe 3 minutes max. And here's a key tip. Chop the veggies small, then let them sit out for about 5 minutes before serving. This actually activates the enzyme that creates the sulforaphane.
Let them sit first. Okay.
Yeah, and avoid those blanched frozen veggies. The blanching process destroys that crucial enzyme. Oh, and for a real superdose, broccoli sprouts. They have nearly 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli.
Broccoli sprouts. Noted. Okay, next up, berries. Who doesn't love berries? Good news for dogs too, you said.
Great news indeed, Emma. Dark berries, think blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, are incredibly rich in powerful antioxidants, especially things called anthocyanins and flavonoids. These compounds neutralize free radicals and reduce oxidative stress. Basically, they fight the cellular damage that can lead to cancer.
So they protect the cells.
Exactly. And these compounds have actually been observed slowing cancer cell growth and protecting DNA. Some studies even suggest that they might help shrink tumors. Plus, you get fiber and essential vitamins and minerals. It's a total win-win.
Love it. Okay. Next one. Turmeric. This is a classic super spice, right? Known for being anti-inflammatory. How does it fit in for dogs?
Turmeric is fantastic, Emma. Its active compound, curcumin, is a potent anti-inflammatory, yes, but also an antioxidant, a pain reliever, and it has anti-cancer properties. It helps strengthen the immune system, fights that oxidative stress that we mentioned, and can even help with digestive issues during treatments. Its mechanisms are pretty cool. It inhibits cancer cell growth, tells cells to die off, and stops tumors from getting a blood supply.
But isn't there an issue with absorbing curcumin?
You got it, Em. Raw turmeric isn't absorbed very well. You need what's called golden paste, right? Now, that involves cooking the turmeric with a healthy carrier oil, like coconut oil, and adding freshly ground pepper. The pepper contains piperine, which dramatically boosts absorption. And get this, it can work synergistically with conventional treatments, potentially making them more effective.
Golden paste. Okay, need to look that up now. This next category might sound a bit out there to some listeners, but the research is really interesting. Medicinal mushrooms.
Yes, this is a fascinating area, Em. Mushrooms like maitake, shiitake, reishi, and especially turkey tail are gaining serious recognition. They contain immune-modulating compounds, particularly beta-glucans. These stimulate immune cells like macrophages and natural killer cells, and also help suppress inflammation.
So they basically help the immune system do its job better?
Precisely. Maitake, for example, has shown in lab studies, now these are lab studies, mind you, to inhibit canine mammary connective tissue and lymphoma cells by up to 90%. Pilot trials in dogs suggest it's safe and might help slow tumor progression, improve appetite, and improve energy levels during treatment. Turkey tail is another star. It boosts the immune system and seems to positively alter gut bacteria too, which is linked to better overall health.
Wow. Definitely something to look into. Okay, last superfood group, omega-3s. We hear about these all the time for human health. Just as crucial for dogs?
Very crucial, Emma. We're talking about EPA and DHA, those essential fatty acids found abundantly in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. They are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. They directly combat chronic inflammation, which, as we said, is a key contributor to cancer development.
Right, inflammation keeps coming up.
It does. Omega-3s also help improve appetite and reduce muscle wasting, which can be a big problem for cancer patients. They enhance the immune system's ability to target cancer cells, can reduce tumor growth, and studies, particularly in lymphoma, show they can significantly improve survival times and quality of life during chemotherapy.
Okay, so load up on the fish oil or flaxseed oil, basically. Good to know. Now, just as vital as adding good stuff is knowing what to avoid. Let's talk red flags on dog food labels.
Yes, this is critical, Emma. A key insight here is to be really vigilant about artificial preservatives. Things like BHA and BHT. These are common synthetic preservatives, but they've been linked to liver damage and even cancer in dogs. Some countries have actually banned or restricted them.
Really? How awful.
Yeah. And another one is ethoxyquin. It's also used in making rubber and as an insecticide. Not exactly something you want in food, is it? It's linked to liver damage, immune issues, and cancer too. So what you want to look for on the label are natural alternatives. Things like tocopherols, that's vitamin E, or ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, or maybe rosemary oil.
Okay, check for natural preservatives. What about artificial colours? They just make the kibble look appealing to us, right?
Exactly. They offer zero nutritional value to your dog, but they can be harmful. Red dye number 3 is linked to cancer. Yellow number 5 can cause allergic reactions. Blue dye number 1 is linked to neurotoxicity, and many of them are derived from coal tar, which is a known carcinogen. So just avoid them. Look for foods colored naturally, if at all, with things like carrots or turmeric.
Let's try that again. Makes sense. Okay, this next point feels really fundamental. You mentioned earlier that cancer cells love sugar. Can you break that down for us? Why is that? And what does it mean for feeding our dogs?
Yeah, this is a really critical concept, Emma. Cancer cells are greedy for glucose. They consume it at something like 10 to 20 times the rate of normal healthy cells. So, a diet high in sugar and easily digestible refined carbohydrates essentially provides readily available fuel for cancer cells, helping them grow and multiply.
So you're literally feeding the cancer.
In a way, yes. High sugar intake can also suppress the immune system, making it harder for the body to fight back. Plus, it often leads to insulin resistance. And get this, cancer cells often have way more insulin receptors on their surface, maybe 10 to 20 times more than normal cells. So that combination of excess sugar, the resulting insulin spikes, and often obesity, it's all firmly linked to increased cancer risk in both humans and dogs.
So it's not just about avoiding obvious sugar, but refined carbs in general. What about grain-free foods?
Well, that's a good point, Emma. The grain-free debate is complicated and, frankly, often a marketing tactic. The real issue isn't necessarily grains themselves, but the overall load of refined carbohydrates. Many grain-free foods just swap out grains for other high-carb fillers like potatoes or tapioca. So the focus should be on reducing those easily digestible carbs overall, aiming for a lower glycemic load diet.
Got it. Lower the refined carbs, not just grains. Okay, any other specific ingredients to quickly mention that we should steer clear of?
Yeah, a couple more. Avoid rendered fat. It sounds okay, but it's often a highly processed product made from various animal sources, and it can contain impurities. Propylene glycol, sometimes used to keep semi-moist foods soft, can be toxic in larger amounts. And definitely avoid artificial sweeteners or added sugars like corn syrup. They just contribute to weight gain, dental problems, and maybe diabetes risk, none of which help prevent cancer.
Okay, that's a lot on diet. Super helpful. Now moving beyond the food bowl, let's talk about lifestyle. You said it's a huge piece of the puzzle. Where do we start?
Well, something that really stands out in the research is the direct link between obesity and cancer. This is a big one, Em. Obesity isn't just extra padding. It's now understood as a chronic inflammatory condition. And that inflammation significantly shortens a dog's life and strongly predisposes them to cancer.
Great advice. Okay, let's talk about something maybe less obvious. Toxins in their environment. Our homes, our yards, they can harbour hidden dangers, right?
They definitely can, Emma. Let's start with the yard. Lawns treated with common pesticides and herbicides pose a really significant threat. Dogs walk on them, roll on them, sniff everything, and then they lick their paws. They get a much higher exposure than we do.
Yeah, you see them munching on grass sometimes too.
Exactly. And studies have directly linked common weed killers like those containing 2,4-D to increase rates of lymphoma and bladder cancer in dogs. Glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, is also a major concern. And these chemicals don't just stay outside. They can volatilize, become airborne, and drift indoors on dust particles or get tracked in.
Oh, so what's the solution?
The safe approach? Avoid using these chemicals on your own yard altogether. Opt for natural lawn care methods. If you have to walk your dog in public areas that might be treated, try to stick to sidewalks and maybe wipe their paws or even give them a quick bath when you get home.
Good tips. Okay, what about inside the house? Cleaning products?
Yes, another big one, Emma. Many common household cleaners contain ingredients that are toxic. We're talking bleach, formaldehyde, ammonia, glycol ethers, and those quaternary ammonium compounds, or quats, found in many disinfectants. They pose risks through inhalation, ingestion from licking surfaces, or even skin contact. They can cause immediate issues like irritation, but also long-term problems.
So, practical advice?
Always keep cleaning products securely locked away. Ensure good ventilation when you're cleaning, open windows for example. Thoroughly rinse surfaces after cleaning, especially floors or areas your dog might lick. And ideally, make the switch to pet-friendly, all-natural cleaners. There are many good options available now.
Makes sense. Now, this next one might seem obvious, but it's so important we have to emphasize it. Second-hand smoke, and third-hand smoke too.
Yes, absolutely, Emma. Secondhand smoke, what they inhale directly, is bad enough. But third-hand smoke is the residue that clings to everything. Furniture, carpets, curtains, clothes, even walls. Dogs, especially because they're close to the floor and groom themselves by licking, are at really high risk from this residue.
What kinds of cancers are linked to smoke exposure in dogs?
Exposure is directly linked to lung cancer, particularly in short-nosed breeds like pugs or bulldogs, and nasal cancer, especially in long-nosed breeds like collies or greyhounds. Because their noses act like filters, trapping the carcinogens. And think about this, cats are known to get oral cancer from grooming the smoke residue off their fur. That risk is relevant for dogs too. The bottom line is simple. The only safe environment is a completely smoke-free one. Home, car, everywhere.
Absolutely. No smoking around pets, period. Okay, one more environmental area. Plastics. They're everywhere. How are they a concern?
Yeah, plastics are ubiquitous, Emma, and they bring us concerns like BPA, phthalates, and flame retardants. BPA, found in many hard plastic containers and some toys, is an endocrine disruptor. It can leach into food or water or even directly into saliva when dogs chew on plastic toys.
Hormone disruption? Not good.
Not good at all, Emma. Then you have phthalates, used to make plastics flexible, and brominated flame retardants, used in furniture, carpets, and electronics. These have been strongly linked to bladder cancer in dogs. A major way dogs get exposed is through household dust. These chemicals leach out of products. They settle in the dust, and dogs ingest it when they groom themselves or just breathe it in.
Household dust. Wow. So what can you practically do about these plastic-related chemicals? It feels like they're unavoidable.
It does feel overwhelming, Emma, but you can take steps to reduce exposure. Start with their food and water bowls. Switch from plastic to ceramic, glass, or stainless steel. That's a pretty easy switch there. Reconsider dog food that comes in hard plastic containers or even some types of canned packaging. Look for BPA-free options if possible. Store their food in glass containers once it's opened as well.
Okay. Bowls and storage. What about toys?
Opt for toys made from safer materials, natural rubber, durable fabrics, wood, or specifically look for BPA-free plastic toys. Choose fragrance-free household products, as synthetic fragrances often contain phthalates. And crucially, tackle that dust. Regularly clean the floors and surfaces with a damp rag, or even better, a vacuum cleaner equipped with a HEPA filter. Dusting is actually a really effective way to reduce their exposure. Every little change adds up, right?
Small steps collectively make a difference. Okay, let's bring it all together for everyone listening. We've covered a ton of ground. Can we summarize the key actionable takeaways? The top steps you can implement starting today to significantly lower your dog's cancer risk?
Yeah, absolutely, Emma. Let's break it down. First, prioritize that whole food, minimally processed diet. Really focus on cutting back excessive refined carbohydrates and sugars. Second, actively incorporate those anti-cancer superfoods. We talked about cruciferous veggies, prepared right, dark berries, turmeric made into golden paste, of course, medicinal mushrooms, omega-3 fatty acids, likely from fish oil, but we prefer to use flaxseed oil.
Okay, diet first, add the good stuff, avoid the bad.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us to number 3. Be a label detective and avoid harmful food additives. Avoid artificial preservatives like BHA, BHT, ethoxyquin, artificial colors and dyes, propylene glycol, rendered fat, and added sweeteners. Fourth, maintain a healthy weight. This is non-negotiable. And ensure regular, appropriate exercise tailored to your dog.
Weight and exercise. Check.
Fifth, minimize their exposure to environmental toxins. Ditch the harsh lawn chemicals. Choose pet-safe household cleaners. Eliminate all secondhand and third-hand smoke exposure. And reduce their contact with plastics containing BPA, phthalates, and flame retardants, especially through bowls, toys, and managing dust. And maybe a few bonus points. Always consult a board-certified veterinary nutritionalist for home-cooked diets.
Good point.
Discuss spay/neuter timing carefully with your vet for an individualized plan. And perhaps most importantly, prioritize those regular veterinary checkups and any recommended screenings. Be super vigilant for any early warning signs like lumps, bumps, weight loss, lethargy, changes in appetite or bathroom habits, and report any concerns to your vet promptly. Early detection truly saves lives.
That's a fantastic summary, Chris. Really actionable advice. And that wraps up another deep dive on the Chris and Emma Show. We sincerely hope this conversation has armed you with valuable knowledge, empowering you to advocate for your dog's long-term health and well-being.
It's so inspiring for us humans, and honestly, it aligns perfectly with the healthy eating principles we just discussed for our dogs. Great work. And to you, our amazing listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Your curiosity, your commitment to learning, that's what makes this podcast so special for us. If you found this information helpful, please share this podcast with other dog lovers in your life. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the Chris and Emma Show for more eye-opening insights in the future.
And maybe just a final thought to leave you with, my dear listeners. Considering how many of these factors, the environmental toxins, the dietary pitfalls, overlap between humans and dogs sharing the same home, What's one small, actionable change you can make in your shared living space starting today that could benefit not just your beloved canine companion, but potentially your entire family's well-being too? Something to ponder, wouldn't you say?
Great question, Emma. Thank you all for being here. Wishing you all and your furry family the absolute very best of health, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Till next time, take care, everybody.